Luka Dončić just dropped a shocking ultimatum to the Lakers front office. A clip of their sideline confrontation during a game is going viral, and everyone is asking, is this the end for Redick in Los Angeles? When a franchise player threatens the front office like this, the consequences can be huge. In this video, we're breaking down exactly what happened and what it could mean for the future of both Redick and Luka Dončić with the Lakers. During the Lakers' 129-101 road win over the Golden State Warriors on Saturday, Luka Dončić was subbed out of the game and walked to his seat on the bench without accepting Redick's fist bump. Now think about that for a second. Your head coach extends his hand and you walk right past him. In any context, that sends a message. And Redick received that message loud and clear. As Luka was trying to walk towards the end of the bench, past Redick, the coach tried to grab his arm to talk to him. Luka kept walking, seeming as if he was shrugging off his coach's comments. Redick followed him and continued to talk to him when Luka took his seat on the Lakers bench. And this is where it escalated. According to the viral clip captured by fans and posted on X, Redick can be heard saying, "What's your problem, huh? You pushed my hand away. What are you upset about?" Luka responded, "I didn't." And Redick fired back, "Sit the fuck down." Luka then replied, "What, yo?" Now let that exchange sit for a moment. A head coach, in his first coaching job in the NBA, telling a franchise player, a guy who is averaging over 32 points a game, to sit the expletive down. That takes a certain level of either confidence or recklessness, depending on how you look at it. Once Redick was finished with the conversation, he turned his back to walk back to his spot on the sideline near the other end of the bench. And this is where it could have gotten out of hand. However, Luka, seemingly frustrated, stood up and was about to go over to Redick until several nearby players helped defuse the situation. After Redick cleared the area and Dončić sprung to his feet to bark more at his coach, Lakers forward, Jarred Vanderbilt stood up from his seat and clapped his hands to put a barrier between the two. And this wasn't just some casual standing up. Redick appeared to say something stern to his guard before returning toward his coaching duties on the sideline. Moments later, the situation appeared ready to escalate when Dončić stood up from his seat, seemingly preparing to approach his coach again. That was when Vanderbilt intervened. Instead of confronting either side, the forward casually moved into Dončić's path, while clapping and celebrating on the sideline. The action blended into the normal activity around the bench, making it difficult for cameras to capture anything unusual. A teammate reaches over to grab Luka's arm while Jarred Vanderbilt stands up to dance to some music, a bit as if to block Luka from going after Redick. Luka then shakes his head and sits back down. Now, when you need multiple teammates, one guy grabbing your arm and another guy literally dancing in front of you to create a physical barrier to keep your franchise player from going after your head coach, that is not a normal moment. That is not something that happens on a Tuesday and you just move on. Or at least, that's what the internet seems to think. The video spread across X, formerly known as Twitter, and within hours it was everywhere. A brief sideline exchange between Luka Dončić and Redick quickly turned into one of the most discussed moments around the NBA. The short courtside clip showed tension between the Los Angeles Lakers star and his head coach during their game against the Golden State Warriors. Within hours, the moment circulated widely online and sparked speculation about everything from locker room chemistry to the long-term dynamics between the two. So the question becomes, is this the kind of friction that leads to a coaching change? Is Luka Dončić the type of player who would go to the front office and say, "It's me or him"? Because that's the narrative that has taken hold. And the history of the NBA tells us that when a star player and a coach clash, it is almost always the coach who loses. To understand why this moment happened, you have to understand what was going on with the Lakers before that Warriors game. LA had been on a 3-game losing streak going into the Golden State game, including last-second losses against Orlando and Phoenix. The Lakers snapped a 3-game losing streak over the weekend by taking it to the short-handed Warriors at Chase Center on Saturday night, winning 129-101. It was a needed release of frustration for Los Angeles, after a blowout loss at the hands of the Celtics was followed by 2 narrow defeats by 4 points combined. So you have a team that lost to Boston in embarrassing fashion, then dropped 2 games by a combined 4 points. That is the kind of stretch that tests every player, every coach, every relationship in a locker room. And remember, this is a team with championship expectations. The Lakers acquired Luka in that shocking trade last February with the Dallas Mavericks, where they sent Max Christie, Anthony Davis, and a 2029 first-round pick to the Mavs in the deal. That trade was supposed to change everything. The Luka Dončić-Anthony Davis trade was a National Basketball Association trade made on the night of February 1st 2025, which saw Luka Dončić traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis in a 3-team deal facilitated by the Utah Jazz, It was the first time in NBA history that two reigning All-NBA team players were traded for each other mid-season. It is considered one of the most unexpected and lopsided trades in NBA history. The Lakers gave up their franchise big man, a first-round pick, and Max Christie. They went all in on Luka Dončić as the centerpiece of their future. Luka is a one-of-a-kind young global superstar who will lead this franchise for years to come, Rob Pelinka said when the deal was announced. We will be relentless in building a roster around the on-court vision Coach Redick has for this basketball team. So the front office publicly tied Redick and Dončić together. The vision was supposed to be Redick's system with Dončić running it. And when the system is producing results, nobody cares about a little sideline tension. But when you're losing 3 in a row and the frustration is building, these moments get amplified. In the 2025-26 season, Dončić has played 49 games and averaged 32.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 8.6 assists per game. Those are monster numbers. Dončić is leading the league with 32.5 points per night, and the Lakers' offensive rating of 120.6 in his minutes on the floor would rank number 1 in the NBA across a full season. It isn't his most efficient season, and his turnovers are up year over year. But Redick clearly knows how to design an offense with Dončić as the conductor, but the defense has been a problem. Luka Dončić has struggled defensively, recording a defensive rating of 115.0. Lakers legend James Worthy critiqued his impact, noting that despite his big offensive numbers, he isn't impacting games defensively in a way that changes outcomes. Dončić admitted that defense, along with turnovers, is something he wants to improve, and this is likely what the sideline disagreement was about. Dončić isn't the best defender in the world. In fact, there are moments throughout the course of a game when it seems as though he doesn't even care about trying on that end. On top of that, there are inevitably going to be moments when he messes up a coverage, gets mixed up, or miscommunicates with his teammates. As the head coach, Redick should be pointing these out. And there's a bigger issue lurking beneath the surface: the fit with LeBron James. The team is 11-6 in games where Dončić, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves have all been available, but that doesn't mean they're playing well together, writes Law Murray of The Athletic. LA has only outscored opponents by 3 total points in the 297 minutes they've all been on the court, and they're producing 109.2 points per 100 possessions in lineups that feature all 3 players, which would rank 29th in the league. JJ Redick himself acknowledged this challenge. The bigger challenge is when they're all on the court together, Redick said, because they all want the basketball, and the reality, people have to sacrifice. The other 2 guys also have to sacrifice. They're out there with those 3 guys. So the frustration isn't coming from nowhere. The team isn't clicking the way it should. The losing streak exposed cracks. And in that environment, a coach telling his star to sit the expletive down is either the bravest thing you can do or the dumbest. And depending on which side of this you fall on, that's where the fire JJ Redick conversation starts. Now let's talk about what happened online after this clip went viral, because the reaction was split right down the middle. While those 2 wins look good, a sideline confrontation between head coach JJ Redick and Luka Dončić has gone viral online, with fans discussing what it could mean for their dynamic with the Lakers. On one side, you had fans defending Redick and praising him for holding his star accountable. Another said, "I respect the fact that JJ will hold his stars accountable." He was clearly pissed at Luka and got in his face to send a message to him about it. Good coaches hold their stars accountable. At least you should respect your coach. You can't be bigger than the team, a commenter wrote in the X replies. On the other side, you had fans predicting the end for Redick. JJ Redick may not last long with the Lakers if Luka requests a trade, one commenter wrote, while another said, "It was nice knowing you, JJ Redick, as the Lakers coach." And then there were people who focused on the real hero of the moment, Jared Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's ability here to clearly try and diffuse while optically making it seem that he's cheering is incredible. A-plus teammate, a commenter wrote about the Lakers player near Luka on the bench. NBA veteran Draymond Green later highlighted that exact detail while reacting to the clip online. That is as important on an NBA team as anything a player, not a star, can do on the court. Now here's where things get interesting. Max Kellerman, on the Game Over podcast with LeBron James's longtime agent Rich Paul, suggested that the Lakers should trade Luka Dončić. "If I were the Lakers, I would give serious consideration to moving Luka," Kellerman said. Now that's a wild take, considering the Lakers gave up Anthony Davis for this man, but it shows you how far the narrative had spiraled. One sideline interaction, and suddenly we're talking about trading a guy who's averaging 32 points a game. But Rich Paul, LeBron James's longtime agent and CEO of Clutch Sports, offered a different perspective. While social media pundits speculated about the alleged locker room fracture, Clutch Sports CEO and LeBron James's longtime agent Rich Paul is framing it differently. On the latest edition of Game Over with Max Kellerman, He admitted that he didn't see the exchange, but could accurately guess the conflict as a byproduct of elite winning culture rather than a crisis. "I've been around this game a long time," Paul prefaced his opinion, before insisting that such friction is actually a prerequisite for success. Rich Paul on JJ Redick and Luka Dončić going at it on the sidelines. That leads to a healthy relationship. That means there's a profound respect for the player, and should be a profound respect for the coach. It ultimately leads to a healthy relationship. We're looking for the drama of it all, and we want to talk about the drama of it all. But the reality of it is, hey, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to do a high-level job. The fact that there's care shown, and there's passion shown, and there's a competitive nature shown, I think that's healthy," Paul concluded. So you have Rich Paul, a man who operates at the center of the Lakers' power structure through his connection to LeBron, essentially saying, "Calm down, this is fine." That's significant. When the most powerful agent in basketball, who also happens to represent the other franchise player on the team, is telling you this is healthy, that tells you a lot about where the front office likely stands on this. But the internet doesn't care about nuance. The internet wants drama. The internet sees a star player nearly going after his coach and starts building narratives. And the narrative that caught fire was simple. Luka is going to get JJ fired. 2 days after the incident, JJ Redick addressed the media before the Lakers game against the New Orleans Pelicans, and his response was telling. After a testy bench exchange between JJ Redick and Luka Dončić made the rounds on the internet, the Los Angeles Lakers coach said he didn't know why the interaction warranted extra attention. "I don't know why it went viral," Redick said before the Lakers' 110-101 win over the New Orleans Pelicans on Tuesday. "It felt very normal to me." That phrase, "it felt very normal to me," became the headline, and Redick went further. "I was talking to Luka about it. We were actually laughing about it. I was like, I didn't feel any tension. He was like, nah, I didn't care about it. I didn't think much of it at the time, to be honest with you," Redick said. "I don't think Luka did either. He and I have a great relationship. I really value our relationship, and I think those things happen. Not every game, but they happen very frequently. It's a competition, and there's two guys here who, in this case, are trying to win a basketball game and be on the same page about stuff." Now let's break down what Redick is doing here. He's doing 3 things at once. First, he's normalizing the interaction, saying it's part of the job, part of competition, part of coaching in the NBA. Second, he's invoking Luka's name directly, saying they laughed about it together, which implies there's no lingering tension. Third, he's subtly calling out the media and the fan base for overreacting, and Redick went even further in explaining why the attention doesn't bother him. Redick admitted the virality and the attention that comes with it is part of why he wanted to coach the Lakers in the first place. Redick said it's always been about projects that matter. Redick said he wanted to be a part of something that means something. The reality is everybody is going to always have an opinion, he said. Since pro sports have existed, everybody has always had an opinion. There's been sports talk, there's been barbershops, chat rooms. Everybody's had an opinion. Now everybody's opinion is more easily accessible. And the reporting backed up Redick's version of events. ESPN's Dave McMenamin did his own digging. Speculation surrounding a potential rift between Luka Dončić and JJ Redick was put to rest Tuesday, when ESPN insider Dave McMenamin publicly addressed the situation, stating there is no feud between the Los Angeles Lakers star and head coach. McMenamin shared what his sources told him. "I checked into this with people around the league and within the team. I'll just tell you my reporting," McMenamin said. A league source said when he saw the video, "LA is different. The smallest thing becomes the biggest thing." A source close to Luka told me that him and JJ have a strong, close relationship that dates back nearly a decade, and they're both fiercely competitive and they push one another. A team source said, "Find me a star in the NBA that isn't frustrated amidst a 3-game losing streak. It's much ado about nothing." When asked about the Redick-Dončić moment, a Lakers source dismissed any deeper meaning, telling ESPN, "Find me a star on a 3-game losing streak in the NBA that isn't frustrated." A source close to Dončić told ESPN that the two have a strong, close relationship, adding that they are both fiercely competitive and are always pushing each other. Now that's important. The relationship dates back nearly a decade. People forget that Luka and JJ Redick have history. From their time as teammates to Dončić going on Redick's podcast to now, these are two people who know each other well, who have a foundation that goes beyond this one coaching stint. And that foundation matters when things get heated. But here's what you have to ask yourself. Would a front office source or a source close to Luka tell ESPN anything other than, "Everything is fine, even if it wasn't"? That's the nature of NBA media. When things are truly falling apart behind closed doors, the public-facing message is always, "We're good." So while the reporting suggests there's no issue, the skeptics out there would say that's exactly what they'd say regardless. And there's one more thing Redick said that jumped out. Frankly, I talk about player-led teams all the time. I encourage guys talking to me or talking to our coaches, bringing stuff up and telling us what they need. That is Redick essentially saying, I want my players to push back. I want communication. I want this to be a two-way street. And if Luka pushed back in the moment, that's part of the dynamic I've created. That's a coach who is either genuinely secure in his position or doing a good job of pretending to be. So let's get to the question the title asks. Is Luka Dončić telling the Lakers front office he wants JJ Redick fired? Is he threatening to leave? Here's what the facts tell us. First, there is no report from any credible source, not ESPN, not The Athletic, not Sports Illustrated, not any major outlet, that Luka Dončić has made any demand to the Lakers front office regarding JJ Redick's job. None. Zero. That is important to state clearly, because the internet runs on implication, and implication is not fact. Second, the results on the court tell a story of their own. Things are already looking up in Los Angeles. The Lakers not only won Saturday's contest, but enter play Wednesday on a 3-game winning streak. LA won its next game, too, 128-104 over the Sacramento Kings, with Dončić putting up 28 points and 9 assists. And then they beat the Pelicans 110-101 to make it 3 in a row. The Lakers' regular season record stands at 37-24, good for 6th in the Western Conference. They are firmly in playoff position with about 20 games left in the regular season. This is not a team in crisis. This is a team going through the normal grind of an NBA season. Third, let's talk about what has historically happened in the NBA when a star player actually wants a coach gone. We've seen it with Dwight Howard and Stan Van Gundy in Orlando. We've seen it with various players and coaches throughout the league. When a star truly wants a coaching change, you hear about it through leaks, through anonymous sources, through the players' camp putting things out there. McMenamin's report reflects the reality. There is no problem between Dončić and Redick, but there are problems with the team, and they are significant with the playoffs just over a month away. Even without McMenamin's reporting, it was pretty obvious Dončić and Redick work well together. Both are competitors. This altercation doesn't mean they hate each other. It means they want to win. But for all the people going on social media and talking about how much Dončić and Redick hate each other, that's a bit of a stretch. Context is always important. Competition breeds intensity, and everyone gets invested. This was almost certainly just a classic of two guys getting fired up and getting into a disagreement. Nothing more. Now, does that mean everything is perfect? No. The Lakers have real issues to address. At times this season, Redick has appeared frustrated with Dončić's defensive effort and parade of complaints to the referees, to be sure. But whatever he's doing with the superstar on the other end is working out quite well, and there are legitimate concerns about how the roster fits together. Mannix adds that the Lakers want to use Dončić's NBA Finals team in Dallas from 2024 as the blueprint for their future. That could mean finding someone more qualified than DeAndre Ayton to fill the Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively 2 role. The real problems in Los Angeles aren't about a sideline spat. They're about defensive consistency. They're about three-point shooting. They're about how LeBron, Luka, and Reeves all share the ball when they're on the floor together. They're about building the roster depth needed for a deep playoff run. Those are the conversations the front office is having, not whether to fire JJ Redick because of a viral video. According to Redick, the entire situation even became a source of humor once he and Dončić realized how widely the video had spread. Our relationship is strong. It's only going to get stronger. For the Lakers, the takeaway was simple. What looked like a heated confrontation on camera was nothing more than a competitive exchange during a game. Paul's defense of the exchange suggests that for a Lakers team currently sitting 6th in the West, these heated moments are simply the friction required to sharpen a title contender. So here's the bottom line. What happened between Luka Dončić and JJ Redick on that sideline against the Warriors was real. The frustration was real. The words were real. The moment Luka stood up to go after his coach was real. But a sideline argument during a 3-game losing streak, in a game they went on to win by 28 points, is not the same as a franchise player demanding his coach be fired. Those are two different galaxies. The NBA is an emotional sport played and coached by emotional people. It was always most likely Dončić and Redick just got caught up in the heat of the moment. The eagerness to discuss what it might mean is standard for today's sports viewing population. Could things change in the future? Could the Lakers hit another rough patch and the Luka-JJ dynamic becomes a real issue? Sure, anything is possible in the NBA. But as of right now, the reporting is clear. The sources are aligned, the team is winning, and both the player and the coach have said, on the record, that they're good. The internet wanted a war. What it got was two competitors having a moment, and then they laughed about it. That's the story. Maybe not as dramatic as the title suggests, but That's basketball. Sometimes the biggest story is that there is no story. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth Lakers coverage. Drop a comment below. Do you think Luka and JJ can make this work long term? And hit that like button if you stayed until the end. We'll see you in the next one.